my sons indeed. Right, this is the build review of the Amusing Hobby 148 scale P something, yeah. Vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. Now, as I said in the review, you get 2 sprues, a clear one, some decals, and a manual. And nothing's changed. Great. So, Amusing Hobby's instructions are pretty good. The basic, the clear, they show where everything needs to be. So, yeah, no complaints really. So, anyway, starting off, I took the fuselage halves off, and just to get a sort of like primary sort of like feel of the kit and as it's going to go together. Yeah, it went really well. Yeah. Anyway, right, on with it. Right, first thing I stuck in was the wheel well, and it has a very sort of like depress inside. That once you got the part in, it just sort of like stays, and you just glue it in. It's not an issue at all. Moving on, then I went to the cockpit. Now this, well, in fact, the whole build is complete conjecture because this aircraft never flew. The only thing it was, as far as I can research, was the fact that, yeah, it was just on paper. It never reached production. This idea was first thought of in 1938. But anyway, putting it all together, as in the cockpit, it is, like I said, it is complete conjecture. It is entirely up to the person who's actually designed this kit, I believe, unless they've got things that I haven't. Anyway, on with the kit. Yeah, it's literally a plug and play. You just popped it in, you just dabbed a bit of glue around, maybe a slight maneuver around with the side panels or the consoles, and that was it. It was nice and snug, and it was absolutely going nowhere. So the actual main cockpit floor and seating arrangements then, well, again, that was pretty self-explanatory. You just popped them together. I applied glue on the opposite side so I didn't make a mess, or try to anyway. But again, everything went down ship shape. The control panel, the control stick, and the rudder pedals, they all went down really well. And as I don't know if you can see, but I'm actually using Tamiya Extra Thin Quick Setting, and the glue actually worked really well with this particular styrene or plastic or whatever you want to call it. Now, putting the rudder pedals in, that's entirely up to you. I can't see them now the kit's been finished, so it's entirely up to you. So first, a real big test is putting the fuselage halves together and slowly but surely adding the actual parts in the fuselage. Now for this one, this is the first test, and it's just basically making sure that the wheel well fits and I've got no gappage or seepage or whatever else like that. Anywho, moving on to the wings. Now, when you put these together, you do get a rather satisfying click. Yes, we call it the Bandai click. No, we don't, I just do. And it is really good. Literally, you're just putting the parts together, they can click, you just add the glue down the seams, and that's it. You just leave it to dry, Bob's your uncle, Alan's your fanny's aunt, or whatever it is. Yeah, it is really good fit. Now, putting the horizontal stabilizers, they are simply just a 2-piece affair, and once they're on and once they're sort of like glued in, yeah, just be careful. If you put too much glue in, you might get seepage and stick your fingers in it like I normally do. Yeah, anyway, it's a good fit, that's all I can say. So just putting the sort of like primary sort of like prop mechanism in, basically it's just like a stopper, and they go in pretty well. But one thing I will suggest is once you've popped that in or glued it, put the actual top wing on first, straight after should I say, and just look down into the actual hole itself just to make sure that it's actually nice and square, because when you actually start to put the actual propeller in, it may foul, so just make sure that you do get a clear aperture right the way through. So yeah, anyway, Everything else, the wings, they went together. Gappage, there was a bit of a gappage on one side of the wing. I believe it was the starboard side, but nothing really major. Anyway, we've got the cockpit in. It's all been painted up, and I'm just literally just dabbing a bit of glue, and it's basically the same sort of like way of the undercarriage went in. It's basically just a slot in, dab of glue, and that's it. Your job done. So last bit to actually pop in, I do believe, were the instrument panel itself. Again, you've got two notches on the side of the panel, and they coincide with some sticky outy bits, yes, technical terms, which you basically just slide on, and that's it. Again, dab of glue, it's going nowhere. It's a nice, tight, tidy fit. So yeah, cool beans, yay. Right, so putting it all together then. Yeah, right, go on, sticky. Yeah. Any issues? No. It went in. Everything fitted. There wasn't any issues at all, or I didn't have to bugger about with some tweezers and move things about again. No. Absolutely fine. As you can see though, there is, well, a slight bit of gap, but once you actually start putting the glue on and putting it together, it does close up really, really nicely, and cleanup is minimal. So when coming to put the upper wings on, or the upper part of the wing, this is when I run into a slight issue. I mean, it's not major, but it's the only issue that I can actually find on the kit. Now, where my right finger is, or just there, yeah, there you go, right, that part there, just by my finger, it is raised, and I couldn't get it flush to the other part of the fuselage. And I couldn't actually see how I could actually sand it down and make it flush without buggering up anything else. So it would be a case of, if you really wanted it flush, then I think it would be actually a case to sand down the top, as in the outside. But anyway, as this is a Bell review, I just went straight into it and just glued it, so you can see where the actual part is, where it's raised. Anyway, canopy, I mashed that off, popped it on with some PVA or some crystal clear, and again, it was a really nice fit. You popped it on, you wiggled it about just a little bit, yeah, and it was fine. It just a nice fit. So horizontal stabilizers, again, you can just pop them in, just let them flop down a little bit, add the glue, and just stick them in, and that's it. Once the glue is slightly taken, you can have a look and make sure that they are aligned and yeah, at the correct angle, as it were. So one fiddly bit really on the actual kit, and that is the actual undercarriage. I would take time on this. There is one of the actuator arms. It is a question of just, you've got to push it in onto I don't know what you call it, a nipple or whatever you want to call it, so it moves like that. Yeah. So yeah, just take your time with that, and just try not to break it. For once, I didn't break it, so yeah, that is a miracle in itself. Anyway, the actual undercarriage legs themselves, they are a 4-part affair, and when you're actually sticking the bits in that you can stick in, as in the 3 bits, they fit really well. They really, really do. And yeah, it's just a case of, yeah, letting it dry and carrying on with something else if you need to. So yeah. Anyway, what do they fit like? My goodness me. They are a tight fit. And I can tell you now that once everything's painted, you do need to sand the actual stumps that go into the holes. Yeah. If you don't, then you'll probably end up putting too much pressure onto it and breaking it. Yeah, I nearly did. I didn't break it. I nearly did. But yeah, it is a very, very tight fit. So again, I would be careful before you actually sort of like start to add glue. But the actuator arms for the actual undercarriage itself, they just pop in and slot in, and there's no issues at all with that at all. Right, now undercarriage doors, very, very simple. They've got 2 lugs and you fit them on, job done. Ta-da. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And that, ladies and gents, is pretty much the build. So all I needed to do now was to prime it, paint it, and yeah, overall impressions, not a bad kit. It really does fit well, and for a company that I've never really heard of before, yeah, so how's a hobby boss feel about it? Anywho, last bit that comes out of the box is the decals. Now, what are they like? Yeah, they're pretty good. No sort of like major issues. I did use my usual method. Just popped them in some nice warm water. Let them come off the backing paper. Once you popped them on, just literally got a cotton bud and just run it over it. Just get the water that's pulled underneath it. And proceeded then just to put some decal fluid on it. Just to bed them down. So hopefully they'll come up with a bit of a sort of like a painted on look. But first of all, what I did was I just scored it with a scalpel blade and making sure I just use the weight of the blade and don't push down. So first thing I used was Microsol. Did it work? Nah, not really. So I used MIG Ammo, its strong decal fixer, and it bedded them down really, really well. So I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but you do get that colour line which I scored away, and yeah, you do get that sort of like, yeah, painted on look. So ladies and gents, that is it. So my very final thoughts are, yes, a really, really nice kit. If you want to go and buy one, I can highly recommend it. It is a very sort of like niche subject, but it's, I don't know, it's just very cool. I think it's cool, it's quirky. And yeah, it's well worth the money. I got mine, I think, for about 25 quid. But again, prices will vary. So, yeah, what can I say? I really enjoyed it. I hope you have seen all the rest of it. And again, this is a build review, and hopefully I shall be able to do a few more for you in the future. So until then, I would like to wish you happy modelling, keep yourself safe, get yourself on the bench, and yeah, have fun. I do. Haha. Right, guys, see you later. Take care.